The Without Fear of Her Future podcast is for women who are passionately pursuing financial freedom through investing in real estate. We are here to empower you to be brave, dream big, and design a life you love. I'm your co-host, Tresa Todd, founder of the Women's Real Estate Investors Network and author of the book, Without Fear of Her Future.
And I'm Melissa Baker, real estate investor and fitness coach specializing in turning properties from drab to fab. I'm here to help motivate and inspire you to build your dream life because, girl, you deserve it. Welcome back, Without Fear of Her Future listeners. Today's episode is a really special one because we are getting personal.
Yes.
We're welcoming a guest who not only knows this industry inside and out, upside down, backwards, forwards, but also played a huge role in Tresa's journey in real estate.
Absolutely. Our guest today is none other than one of my sons, Justin Todd. He's actually my middle son, who long before I ever did my first deal was already building his real estate investing business and showing me what was possible. So he is one of my mentors. And now we have the honor of working together every single day at the Women's Real Estate Investors Network. And I'm so excited for him to be on today's podcast.
From flipping houses to mastering marketing and now helping thousands of women find financial freedom, he's got stories and strategies, wisdom you don't want to miss out. Welcome, Justin. We're so glad that you're here with us today.
Thank you. Thank you. So excited to be here.
Well, I'll tell you what, I have always called Justin, since I got into real estate, the negotiating king. I've never met anybody that truly eats and sleeps and breathes real estate investing like he does. It is nothing for me to wake up in the morning with texts that came at midnight or 2:00 in the morning with a house to look at or with, hey, look at these comps. I just think he must be dreaming about it. He's working on it all day and all night. He truly loves it. But more than that, I remember when I first got started and I was shadowing everything he did, the thing that stood out to me more than anything that Justin did was the way that he talked to a seller. And it never felt like true negotiating.
Yeah.
It just felt like he was having a conversation. And all of these people were in a motivated or distressed situation. He always made them feel very at ease. He knew how to create a win-win with them. And then they always fell in love with him, especially all the little old ladies. He's literally been invited to family reunions that he went to. I'll let you talk about more of that, Justin.
Good stories.
They knew that he was there to help, and so that was such a training ground for me to watch because I was scared of negotiating. That's a scary term, I think, for most of us women. I'd never been in sales in my life, but when I saw the way that Justin did it, it always just gave me peace and it gave me ease. So Justin, I'm so excited that the ladies have an opportunity to hear from you today. So tell us a little bit about your negotiating skills and where they came from.
Well, thank you. So I like to call it more communicating than negotiating. In negotiations, you're technically usually you make an offer, they come back, they rebuttal with an offer, and you're just kind of going back and forth. And that's really not helpful. Everyone gets uncomfortable, and usually someone's going to lose. You always want to create a win-win. So if you can just start having a conversation about, hey, why are you in this situation? What got you here? How do we help get you out of this situation? And if you focus on all of that before you ever make an offer, they know, like, and trust you, and you can come up with a true outcome that is a win-win that helps them get to where they need to go, helps put cash in their pocket, and helps solve their problem. If it's a foreclosure, if it's a house they inherited, no matter what it is, if they just lost their job and need to sell their house, if you'll focus on what their true problem is, it'll really help you have more success, and it'll help just the whole communication as a whole when you're speaking with these sellers.
Yes, I know that one of the things that you always talk about is being relatable, immediately finding something to relate to, each individual about. Talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, I think that it helps that we come from a background where we didn't have a lot of money growing up and we had hard times, and a lot of the sellers you're talking to are facing hard times. So I always just like to let them know, hey, I'm not this rich investor who's got all this cash in my pocket and I'm just here to make an offer on your house, but more so just kind of relating and saying, hey, I know what tough times are. I get it. We've all been there. The good news is we can get through it, come out on top, and set you up for success for the next go around. And I think that's probably one of the most important parts of just relating with them, finding a way to let them know that, hey, you're human just like them, and we all run into problems. So yeah, I can go on and story of funny ways to communicate or to relate with people, but I'll save that for another time.
Well, I want to talk about the one lady in particular that I just mentioned that she actually invited you to her family reunion. You may not even recall that story as much as I do. Do you remember that? Tell us a
Absolutely.
little bit about that, the situation and how you related to her, and why do you think that she felt so close to you by the end of that transaction that she invited you to her family reunion?
She just had a huge problem. Her house had a ton of foundation issues, and she didn't really have an out. She didn't really have anybody to help her. She had a couple friends out in East Texas that she was really close with, and they were having a big reunion out there. And as we just kept talking and communicating and working through the deal, we just kind of created a bond. And then she invited me to come on out, and I could tell it just meant a lot to her for me to be there, more of a friendship than it was a transaction. So it was more so just for her, and to get there and let her know, hey, I'm here to support you and get through this and help you out. So we're from East Texas, obviously. So it was kind of ironic that it was back in our hometown, and just made a trip out there and stopped by and had some food and said hello to a bunch of strangers and had a good time.
Yeah, I love it. I love it. And here's the deal. You were able to help her out when other investors would have walked away from it because you mentioned tons of foundation problems. Nobody else knew how to help her, and you were able to do that because you had specialized knowledge. You weren't a one-trick pony. You knew of many different ways, and we don't have to go ahead and discuss it, but you actually went and made some really good money on that deal.
Yeah, I would be lying if I told you how much, but we we wholesaled that one and moved it really quick. Had a lot of offers on it, and it was a great deal for everybody.
All right. So, Justin, I want to take a step back for some of our listeners who aren't quite as familiar with your story, and talk about how you actually got started investing in real estate and what were you doing before this, or what was your plan before real estate came into your life?
Yeah, so I had just graduated college, moved out to West Texas, and started working in the oil and gas industry. I was doing sales, selling tools for drilling, drill bits, all that kind of stuff. It was my first real job after college, and I was kind of following the dream, right? Go to college, go get a job, and life will be good. Well, once I got out there, I just kind of realized it wasn't everything I wanted,
Mm-hmm.
and I was performing really well. My first year there, I became our top the second salesman, um, and I sold about $9.5 million in tools that first year, and I made just over six figures. And I was just kind of like, hey, this is not proportionate. I'm doing all the work. I'm out here just busting my butt trying to get sales, and then they keep all the money, and I go back about my hustle and bustle and try to pay the bills and whatnot. So don't get me wrong, six figures was good out of college,
Yeah.
but I just knew that there was a lot more opportunity if I was willing to put in the work and do all the things. I might as well make it for myself and not for somebody else. So it's kind of crazy. The oil field took a shift and actually got laid off, and it was kind of a blessing in disguise because after that point I was like, all right, now I'm ready to go do my own thing. So Kelton and I just got together, and Tanner as well, and we just sat down and said, what do we want to do? And we knew we wanted to be successful. We knew we wanted to make a good amount of money to support our lifestyle, and everything we kept looking into came back to real estate. The most millionaires are made through real estate investing. So for us, it was just a matter of, okay, now we know what we want to do. How do we do it? So from there, we just went out and started learning it, and getting some coaching and mentoring from several successful investors, and just kind of took off from there. And once we had some success, and really, I remember that first deal. Once we wholesaled that first deal and made a good amount of money, we were like, "Oh my gosh, this is it. We can do it. Just do a lot more of them," and that's what we did.
That's awesome. I love how God turns those kind of yucky situations that we go through, like you getting laid off in your job, and turns it into something so beautiful. Because where would you be today had you not gotten laid off? Would you have stayed there? Would you? It's you'll never know. Thank goodness. But So what you were just talking about, that you got mentoring and hired some coaches and did some things. I want to stop right there for a minute, because you brought your mom in. You and your brothers got your mom on board finally. I think it took a while. And you were successfully investing when she got started. I want to know what it was like shifting into that, the role of being her mentor. She had raised you, and kind of, as parents, we should be mentors to our children. So now the roles are switching. Can you talk about that for a little bit?
Yeah, absolutely. I think the biggest thing is we just had a lot of success, and we were happy to share it with anybody. Some of the most, some of the best mentoring we've got were from other successful real estate investors. And what you realize is once you start to reach a level of success, you want to share what you have. You want to teach others. You want to show them. You want to see other people be successful as well. So it was more so one of those. It wasn't a whole like course that we put together just for mom to say, hey, here's your mentoring course. It was more like, hey, come along, let's just show you the ropes, show you how we do it every day, and let her get the hang of it. And that's what she did. So it was really more just kind of having someone with you to learn the ropes firsthand versus trying to lay out this whole training, if that makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Actually having the ability to shadow them and watch everything they did, follow them around, and took all the notes that I could possibly take. You mentioned Tanner and Kelton, which obviously are your brothers for listeners who don't know. So for me as a mom, watching all three of your sons be in business together,
Oh,
finding the crazy success
yeah.
that they did, I couldn't have been more proud, and never intended on doing this myself. I was very content in just being their cheerleader and watching them
Yeah.
succeed. And so having the opportunity for them to teach me was just an incredible honor. And now for us to go on and teach other women all over the nation, my goodness, I couldn't ask for, it's just been the most exciting ride. But I want to ask you this, Justin. I know that there's a lot of listeners that we have. Maybe they, mostly women that are doing this or wanting to get into this, and they're listening, and they want to get their sons or maybe their spouses. What do you think about that? Do you think it's a good idea for families to invest together? And what advice would you give to these ladies?
I like it. It works for some families. It doesn't for others. It's just a matter of if you can walk that line of working together and still having a good relationship. For us, it's not ever been an issue. My brothers and I, we grew up arguing and fighting, right? But at the end of the day, we always loved each other. Came back and put it behind us. It was kind of the same thing. I've had hard conversations where we've disagreed and kind of told each other of us, maybe even got passionate about our opinion of why they were wrong and we were right. But at the end of the day, it was like, all right, you want to go grab some dinner now? You want to what do you want to
Yeah,
do? It's just
that's right.
no hard feelings. So we can separate business from family when it comes to hard decisions. And if you can do that, then absolutely, I encourage working with your family. There's no one better out there to have success than those around you and your families that you get to do it and share the ride along with them. So I'm all for it. It's obviously been an amazing opportunity for us. And if your kids or husband or somebody is wanting to get into it, I would highly support it. I honestly support anybody who wants to get into real estate investing. My advice is they need to be ready for it. You can't force it on them. Because you're excited about it doesn't mean they're excited about it. And they just need to
True.
show some interest in it. If they're showing interest in wanting to do it and they're really taking action, then they'll have a ton of success. But if it's something that, all right, mom, I'll go study real estate today, and not really excited about it, then they're not going to go out there and do the things that it's required. So I would just say, show them how exciting it is, show them the opportunity they can make and how it can change their life. And if it's something that they want to do, then by all means, I would support anybody 100% in that.
I
Yeah,
love that.
I do too. And I think sometimes with husbands, especially, they're skeptical. And I think the
Mhm.
best thing you can do is just show them your success. Don't preach it at them. Kind of like trying not to talk your husband into going to church with you every Sunday. Just do it yourself
Do it.
and
Yeah.
just go. Let them see your success. Let them see the change, and then they're going to
Yeah.
be like a little more interested. Oh, what is that deal? And how much was that check? And
Absolutely.
yeah, well, I think
Absolutely.
we've seen that a lot with our
Yeah.
students.
Yeah. I've seen, yeah, for
Yeah.
sure. For sure.
And I think
Um,
it's how it worked for you as well. It took us kind of
Yeah.
giving you a push, but if we wouldn't have had success, there's no way you would have ever left your job and jumped into it blindly. But if you
Absolutely.
see
True.
it firsthand, then you're like, I want to.
I want some of
Yeah.
that.
People are going to want a piece of that.
That's right.
Okay, well, everybody loves a good deal story, Justin, and I know that you probably have a ton of them, but think of one of your favorite, most memorable deals that you've done and tell us about it. What stands out?
One of, let me think of a good one here to share. Um, Honestly, there's just so many. One of the biggest things in all the deals is just the ability to change these people's life. If you're working with somebody and you can see that they're going towards foreclosure, that's one of the most amazing things you can do, is help someone who's about to lose everything they have, and go and put money in their pocket, help them get a fresh start. So I could go on and on about deal after deal where we've helped people who are crying and hugging you, saying thank you, because if you didn't show up, I literally was going to lose everything. So just as a basis, those are some of my the most amazing ones that we've done. We've done some really cool ones where we've taken small houses and taken the roof off and built up and made a lot of money on those. Those are always fun when you're when you're making a lot more money on them.
Yeah.
So gosh, I don't know if I can narrow it down to just one off the top of my head, but there's countless of them out there, and it's really the ability to make a good income for yourself while helping others. And when you put the two of those together, you really can't beat it.
Yeah, makes for
Yeah.
a lot of fulfillment.
I love how you emphasize the relationship part of the career that you've chosen of real estate investing, because it's not just about it is about making money and doing the deals, but for the women to remember that you're helping someone, you have a solution to a really big problem. Because if they're in foreclosure or have a distressed property that they can't maintain, or they, everybody's got these kind of problems going on, and we have solutions. And I love that you focus on that and you build that relationship
Yeah.
with your sellers.
Yeah. And I mean, you have to remember it is a business, and you do have to make money, right? We want to help as many people as we can, but if we're not helping ourselves, then we can't help anybody else. If we're not making a income that is keeping the lights on and the bills paid, then you can go out there and try to help everybody, but you're not really going to help them, and you're going to be needing help pretty soon, right? So there's nothing wrong with making money while helping people. It's just a matter of doing it the right way, where you're keeping conscious the seller's needs as well as yours, and finding that win-win.
Yeah. We not only teach, but do several different strategies. So we do wholesaling, which is the simplest of all the strategies, is getting a property under contract and then just selling that contract. We flip houses. We have rentals, short-term rentals, and then there's some creative financing. Sometimes we purchase a property using, subject to the existing loan, all of that. And people always want to know this: what's your favorite strategy? And I think that's a really hard answer. The one in front of us at the time that's going to make us money, and we're going to create a win-win. But if you had to answer that, do you have an answer for it?
I can tell you, when I first started, my favorite strategy was wholesaling, because I didn't have the cash and I needed the fast cash. I wanted the fast cash. So flips were great, and you make a lot more on flips, but I needed the money right then, or I wanted the money right then. So wholesaling was kind of where we got started, and we wanted to wholesale. And then we had some success and kind of looked back and said, hey, we're leaving a lot of money on the table by wholesaling all of these things. So then we started working into doing more flips, and then flips became my favorite strategy, right? There was one point where I had 10 flips going, and I was ready to pull my hair out. And then I think I got over that strategy pretty quick, where it was no longer my favorite. And then as I continued to learn some of the other strategies out there that we can't really dive too deep into, but we're doing sub twos and all these other things, I've realized there's not a strategy for a property. It's a matter of what strategy fits that property best. And usually it's one or two. Sometimes it may be all the different strategies, but maybe a fix and flip won't work, but a quick wholesale here will. Or maybe they're behind and they owe more on their house, and the only way you can even help them is by taking over their payments and their mortgage that they currently have in place. And that's where a lot of investors walk out, where they go in, they make their offer, they say no, and they turn around and leave. Where we sit down and say, okay, they can't take my cash offer for this reason. Let's get creative and figure out what strategy works best. And once I learned that, our success went through the roof because it was no longer my wants or desires of what I wanted that house to be. It was like what is best for this property.
That's good. That's good. Okay, so I have a question for you. In getting before we get properties under contract and you have deals and you are able to help people, you've got to do some marketing. You've got to get the deal. So I kind of have a twofold question for our listeners who maybe don't have a big marketing budget because they're new investors. What would you say is their best marketing strategy to start with? And then for maybe our more seasoned investors who have the larger budget, what are marketing strategies that you're finding work now?
Well, it's kind of tricky, and I know you're trying to address both sides of it, but I think it's not just the money side; it's also what is their goal. If you're looking to acquire rentals, your marketing really isn't a whole lot. If you want to just go out there and pick up wholesale deals, you just need to join a network or find a network where you can analyze all these different deals, and then we teach them creative ways where you can go in there and get loans on these properties, not having to put hardly any money down, not having to get approved through using your income stream. It's a loan that's based just on the asset. So if it's someone who's saying, hey, I just want to acquire rentals and start working on that generational wealth, there's very little marketing that you have to do on the front end. Now, if it's someone more active who's saying, "Hey, I'm like you, Justin, and when y'all started, and I didn't have the money to pay the bills, or I didn't have a large amount of money," then you kind of got to figure out what you like because there's several different marketing techniques out there. But more than just saying this is the right one, I think it's which one are you going to do? Which one are you going to follow through on? If it's
Sure.
something you absolutely hate, then don't do it. For us, we all got started door knocking, and I loved it. I still love it. I'll go door knock any day. I don't, but I would go door knock any day, just because it's probably the easiest, cheapest, fastest way to get a deal if you're just starting off. It's great. You go talk to people. You're gonna get some people tell you to leave and don't come back, but you're gonna get some people who need some help, and you get to just learn that way. You get to put your foot in your mouth a few times, and I can't tell you how many times I walked out of a house when I first started, and I was like, I don't blame them for not selling me their house because I wasn't ready for that conversation. But all it did is made me ready for the next time and the next time. So door knocking, if you're saying, hey, I'm really strapped for cash and I need to get some quick money, that's one of the best ways to do it. And then if you have a larger budget, there's something called PPO where you can actually pay for leads from professional companies who will do the marketing for you. And then once they do the marketing, you can buy those leads from them. That's a great way to get started as well. And then another way was what we had a lot of success with was bandit signs, where you go out and put signs out that say we buy houses for cash. That was a time in my life that I was willing to do that because I needed the opportunity. But you're not going to see me put a bandit sign out anymore, right? Because I don't have to. I don't want to. And there's a lot of women or investors in general who are like, I don't ever want to door knock and I don't ever want to put a bandit sign. I don't blame you. You don't have to do it. So it's more so learning the strategies and then saying, okay, of these strategies, which one am I going to do? Am I going to stay true to and actually see it through? And which one's feasible with the time and effort that I have to put into real estate investing?
Yeah.
Very good.
And then things that he didn't even mention is sending out mailers, which is super simple. Cold calling. You can either cold call or you can have a VA cold call for you. So there's plenty of ways to find these deals and learning the strategies. And then, like Justin said, I agree, is learning which strategy are you going to just stay true to and keep up with, and then just getting the specialized knowledge that you need regarding marketing and running
Yeah,
comps and all of that is what's going to help. I think it's what caused them to be so successful. And then I think that's what's caused most of our students to be so
sure.
successful.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. Well, Justin, I know we have a lot of listeners today, some who maybe are already in our network or some who are, they're thinking about it. They're thinking, should I jump into this? Oh my goodness, it seems like a crazy time in our nation. What would your advice be to anybody listening?
My advice is I've never slowed down and never missed a beat. I know when we first got started, we were worried about the economy changing, and we're like, oh, if we can get one more good year, oh, if we can get one more good year. And we said that for about 5, 6 years. And then we saw a little bit of a change, but nothing major. And we kept having success. And then COVID hit, and everybody freaked out and quit buying and Kelton and I and all of us just said, well, we're going to keep going. And I know we bought a property in the middle of COVID that got hit by a tornado that nobody wanted. And we ended up buying that. And it was one of the most profitable properties we ever bought, because what people have to realize is if the market goes down, then how much you're selling that price for goes down. And if you just stick to your formula, you're okay. A 70-cent deal in a good market and a 70-cent deal in a bad market is still a 70-cent deal, right? And so for me and us, we've never slowed down since we've got in it. And I don't have any intentions of slowing down. Obviously, the market could be better than it is right now, but it didn't stop me from buying multiple houses this month, right? So my advice is just do it. The thing is, if you look back at history, house values have always increased. 100%, they've always increased. Yeah, there was a bubble where it went down, but then it came back up, and then it went down, and then it came back up. And it's only going to continue to happen. So if you're acquiring them at the right price, then it's foolproof, in my opinion, because all you got to do is hold on to that property if you need to. But more importantly, you can still flip houses in any market. So yeah, anyone who's thinking about getting into real estate, I would just say the sooner the better, because you're going to look back one day and say, man, I wish I had done this sooner. I know I did. I know you have, Mom. Everyone feels that way once they start to figure it out. And honestly, you just need to get in and start learning it. Even if you don't do a deal, like get in and start understanding what's going on in real estate and how it works. And then once you have that knowledge, you're not going to be able to sit on the sidelines for long, because you're going to be wanting to get into there because you actually understand. Yeah, I hear what you're saying, Justin. Always a good time, but you'll realize that once you're actually involved in it and surrounded by it.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, so good. Absolutely.
Well, thanks for being with us. And this was so good. I know our listeners are going to love it. And I just want to tell them in advance to stay tuned for another episode where you're coming back and talking with us about private money lending. And that's always a favorite topic for anyone to learn about.
Yes, it is. Absolutely. Whether you're just starting out on your journey or you're bringing your family along for the ride, I hope Justin's stories reminded you that this business, it's more about than just the deals. It's not just the deals. It's about purpose and vision and helping other people and creating generational impact for your family.
Absolutely. So if something stirred in you today, if you've been holding back from starting or wondering if your yes could affect more than just you, you never know how your obedience might change the future of your family. So let this episode be your confirmation. If you want to learn more, just visit us at withoutfearofherfuture.com. We bless you, be brave, and dream big.